I was in the middle of a reoccurring dream about fried chicken when a woman's voice began calling my name. Randall. Black Randall. Can you hear me? I opened my eyes to find a middle-aged Chinese woman staring at me. Black Randall, she said. What's the last thing you remember? I sat myself up and tried to remember the last thing that happened to me. Well, I was contacting a pet detective about somebody messing with my farm animals. And I guess I must have dozed off while doing so. Is that all you remember, Randall? I guess so. Now do you mind telling me where the hell I am? Well, Black Randall, we're currently aboard a spaceship headed to a distant planet in hopes of finding salvation. I looked around the room to find myself surrounded by futuristic technology. Now why the hell am I on a spaceship? I gotta figure out who's been messing with my farm animals. Randall, your farm was sold long ago when you died. Say what now? I said, confused. What do you mean died? Well, Black Randall, in the year 2017 you did in fact contact a pet detective. You and him met and planned a stakeout to catch the perp. After a couple nights of waiting, a monster created through science broke into your barn. Scared for your life, you tried to run, but sadly for you, you were then attacked by the monster. And after that, 2 to 3 other monsters came in, and you were sexually assaulted until you died. I looked at the woman in disbelief. However, flashbacks of the night began rushing through my head. I remember, I said. I tried to fight them off, but they had the strength of 7 gorillas. I know, Black Randall. I've seen the security footage. I began removing wires from my chest and started to ask the woman questions. So if I died, how the hell am I here right now? Shouldn't I be in heaven or something? Well, Black Randall, it's a long story. Sometime in the year 2019, global warming began to rapidly accelerate. Temperatures rose on average 20 degrees, and based on advanced simulations, Earth was given 5 more years of being able to sustain life. It was then the US government got together to discuss a plan to evacuate the planet. At this meeting, an employee from NASA discussed a black hole he's been studying. According to years of research, he started to believe on the other side of the black hole could be another Earth, one not affected by global warming. After providing copies of his research, everyone in the room agreed it was the best idea. However, Congress got involved and deemed it illegal to send any US citizen into space. It was then a scientist from Sacramento Community College suggested using DNA from a deceased individual and creating a clone. Confused by the suggestion, someone in the meeting said, "What the hell would cloning someone do?" The scientist then explained that a clone of a US citizen isn't technically a US citizen, so it could be sent into space to venture into the black hole. After his explanation, someone else in the meeting said, "That's genius." Everyone agreed except one guy. The man went on to explain that someone who's died deserves to rest in peace, and what it would take to extract the DNA from the dead individuals would be desecrating the grave. Nobody could justify the act, but someone suggested extracting the DNA from criminals. Everyone agreed that desecrating a grave was wrong, but knowing it was absolutely necessary, they decided her suggestion was the best option. Criminals, I said, confused. But I was a Christian man. I never even broke the law once in my life. Well, actually, Black Randall, you did. I know you didn't plan on getting sexually assaulted. However, sodomy is illegal in the state of South Carolina. And with your expertise with machinery and experience running a farm, we couldn't pass up on the chance to use you in setting up a civilization on the other side of the black hole. Although I was annoyed that I was labeled a criminal, I knew she was technically right. So am I the only one awake? And how many others were chosen for this mission? Actually, Randall, you were the last to wake up. Everyone else came around a few weeks ago, and we were scared your cloning process had failed. However, if you're ready, I can introduce you to everyone else. I got up from my bed and the woman led me out of my room and into the mess hall. Attention, everybody, the woman said. I'd like to introduce our final crew member. This is Black Randall. I looked around the room to see mostly friendly faces. All but one. Black Randall, is it? What a stupid name, considering you're not black, a partially balding overweight man said. Well, they actually call me Black Randall because of my basketball skills. I had dreams of being the next LeBron James, but ended up being a farmer instead. And the name kinda just stuck. What's your name? I said. The man looked incredibly offended by the question. He then went on to say that his name was Nighthawk. Well, I guess that's a stupid name too, considering you're not a hawk, I said with a grin. Nighthawk looked baffled by my wit, then rolled his eyes and continued eating his food. I then took a seat next to an elderly black woman. What's a sweet old woman like you doing in here anyway? I thought this place was for criminals. The woman explained she wasn't a criminal at all. Apparently some kid she was babysitting lied to the cops about a crime she didn't commit. And before she could explain her innocence, she was shot and killed. Oh my God, that's terrible, I said. She agreed, but said she was grateful for a second chance at life and has since let it go. A man sitting across from us interjected himself into the conversation. You think that's bad? Let me tell you what happened to me. I had just finished the shift at JCPenney when I decided to go bird watching. For the first time in my 17 years as a bird watcher, I spotted a rare European cockapoo when suddenly I was assaulted with a rock from behind. Apparently some kids thought I was peeping on them having sex, and my face was bashed in, leading to my demise. Holy shit, I said in disbelief. That is also terrible. You're telling me, and the only reason I'm here now is because I share the same name as a convicted rapist, and they made a mistake. Anyways, nice to meet you. The name's Tom Henderson. Likewise, I responded. So have any of the criminals here actually committed a crime, or is everyone the victim of an unjust technicality? Not everyone, the black woman said. That fat nigga Nighthawk has a rap sheet as long as my tits. And the cybernetic robot across the room used to be a substitute teacher. However, through science, he turned himself into a monster and went on a killing spree. Rumor has it he wiped out an entire police station before he was bested by a nunchuck-wielding cop. Well, why the hell is he a robot? I asked the elderly black woman. I guess after being knocked out by that policeman, his body was destroyed by a chemical concoction, and when they went to extract DNA from his remains, it was revealed that the DNA had been altered, and for whatever reason, he came back as a robot. Oh, I said. I guess that makes sense. I continued talking with the black woman and Tom Henderson when Nighthawk made his way over to the table. Well. Looks like the new kid made friends. Too bad it's with the biggest fags on the ship. Tom Henderson, annoyed by Nighthawk, told him to fuck himself. Oh, I'll fuck myself all right. All over your face, Nighthawk responded. Oh, shut up, the black woman yelled at Nighthawk. We all know about the chastity belt. You're not going to jack off on anyone. Nighthawk became enraged and leapt atop the table. You think a mere chastity belt can withhold the Nighthawk? Then you're surely mistaken. He then pulled off his pants like a pair of breakaway sweats and began making bird noises. Nighthawk placed his hands under his armpits and started to dance like a chicken. We then noticed the bolts on his chastity belt began to rapidly shake until flying off one by one. Jesus Christ, Tom Henderson said. Nighthawk continued to strut and crow until the chastity belt broke apart, releasing his erection. Nighthawk then grabbed a hold of his penis and began stroking it while making threats. I'm going to ejaculate on you one by one, starting with you, old black woman. Nighthawk then aimed his penis at the woman and began stroking it faster and faster. Just as he was about to explode, a dart flew into Nighthawk's neck, sending him falling off the table, losing consciousness. Sorry about that, the Chinese woman who woke me up said. I guess we'll have to design another chastity belt for him. Until then, we'll have to keep him restrained. The woman pulled out a pair of handcuffs and locked Nighthawk's hands around a pole. All right, everyone, it's movie night. Let's get some popcorn and head to the theater, the woman said. Hooray! Everyone cried out. The robot, Tom Henderson, and the black woman began to leave the mess hall when I asked if anyone should watch the Nighthawk. They all brushed off my concern and said he's fine. They then told me to hurry up before we missed the movie. I looked at Nighthawk with a bad feeling in my stomach, but figured he'd be out cold for a while, and followed everyone into the theater. We sat down and the movie began to play. Hell yeah, I love School of Rock, I said. Jack Black is the man. Everyone agreed, then we started to enjoy the film. About halfway through the movie, I noticed something. Hey guys, I said. Doesn't Jack Black kind of look like Nighthawk? Dude, Tom Henderson cried out. He looks just like him. I see it too, the elderly black woman said. He's a little bit fatter, but I totally see it. The robot's head rotated towards the screen, and a red light from the robot's eyes began to scan Jack Black's face. After a brief moment, the robot revealed there's a 92% chance the two are related, according to how strong the face similarities are. No shit, Tom Henderson said. Let's go ask Nighthawk if it's true. We paused the film and headed back to the mess hall to find Nighthawk had broken free from his handcuffs. Oh no, Tom Henderson said. He's gone. The lights then shut off and we heard an eagle noise. The lights cut back on and Tom Henderson was gone. Aw, hell no, the elderly black woman said. I'm grabbing my gun. She then made her way towards the exit when the door came slamming down shut. What the hell? It's locked, she said, terrified. I ran towards the door and tried to pry it open, but she was right. We were trapped. The robot approached the door and tried to manually enter a password. However, his access was denied. It seems Nighthawk has hacked into the security system and changed the passwords, the robot said. Before we could try and make a plan to escape, the TV on the wall turned on. Static filled the screen until it changed to a security camera from another room. In a chair tied up was Tom Henderson. He was clearly distraught and trying to escape when Nighthawk entered the room naked. Without warning, he then began to stroke his genitals, standing right in front of Tom Henderson. Dear God, I said to myself, he's gonna do it. Nighthawk then began to wildly stroke himself until a burst of semen shot from his penis directly into Tom Henderson's face, doing more damage than a sawed-off shotgun. The robot's eyes again began to glow with red light. He scanned the television and stated that Tom Henderson had a 0% chance of survival. The elderly woman looked at the robot and sarcastically asked if he was sure. Again, the robot's eyes began to glow red, and he started to scan the TV screen. God damn it, Bonkel 3000. I was being sarcastic. Suddenly the lights shut off again, and I heard another eagle noise. When the lights cut back on, the elderly black woman was gone, leaving nothing behind but a pair of soiled underwear. The robot grabbed the underwear and began to scan them with his eyes. His eyes then changed from red to blue, and he scanned the floor, revealing footprints leading to a bookcase. The robot and I approached the bookcase and became confused. After a few moments, I got an idea. It must be like some Scooby-Doo shit. We might have to try pulling one of these books until activating a secret passage. The robot began to scan his database and stated that based on every episode of Scooby-Doo he's ever seen, I had a 96% chance of being correct. We started to pull every book off the shelf until we finally found the right one. A section of the floor began to spin, and we ended up in a new room. We did it, robot. Now use that blue light and let's find out where Nighthawk is. The robot's eyes lit up with blue, and he began to scan the floor. We followed Nighthawk's footprints to a broom closet. We opened the door to find the elderly black woman covered in semen, with her head blown clean off. Oh no, we're too late, I said, defeated. The robot's eyes began to glow red, and he scanned the clearly dead woman. After 35 seconds of what sounded like 90s dial-up internet, the robot stated that the woman was dead. I was about to call the robot Captain Obvious when out of nowhere Nighthawk came crashing through the wall and began to attack the robot. The two rolled around on the floor throwing punches until the robot gained the upper hand. He had studied every move Nighthawk had thrown and was able to calculate a perfect strategy to stop the Nighthawk. After dodging a few of Nighthawk's attacks with ease, he delivered a devastating punch in Nighthawk's throat. Nighthawk fell to his knees in defeat. The robot raised his hand like Iron Man, and a beam began to form in the inside of his palm. Any last words? The robot asked Nighthawk. Nighthawk rubbed his throat and began to speak. Only a few, Nighthawk said. Black Randall, the robot that stands before me has a secret you should know. I looked at the robot confused and asked what Nighthawk was talking about. The robot scanned Nighthawk's face and analyzed his facial expressions and said although he doesn't know what Nighthawk is talking about, there's only a 17% chance he's full of shit. I looked back towards Nighthawk and told him to explain. Nighthawk laughed and said the robot was the monster that attacked me, and according to his file, he was the one who initiated the sexual assault. I looked at the robot in horror and asked him if it was true. The robot again began to make dial-up noises and kept saying calculating. After 2 to 3 minutes of this, I realized he was trying to stall, and I demanded he answer the question. The robot looked at the floor ashamed and admitted it was true. Engulfed in anger, I attacked the robot, and during the scuffle, Nighthawk made his way over to the escape pod. Well, gentlemen, looks like you two will have a lot to talk about on the other side of that black hole. However, I'm headed back to Earth to get revenge on that stupid cop with the nunchucks. He then entered the escape pod, and the door began to close. I ran towards it in hopes of thwarting his attempt to escape, but it was too late. The robot walked up to the now vacant escape pod and began to scan it. After a moment, he stated the Nighthawk was gone, and there was a 0% chance of apprehending him. What the hell happened? The Chinese woman screamed while walking into the room. It was Nighthawk, I said. He killed 2 people, and then used the escape pod, and he's headed back to Earth. The woman began to freak out and said she had to alert the government, but before she could, we entered the black hole. It turns out the scientist was right. On the other side of the black hole was a universe identical to ours, with an Earth-like planet perfect for sustaining human life. However, sadly, when Nighthawk took over the ship's computer system, he purposely disabled all ways of communicating with anyone from Earth. I don't know what happened to Nighthawk, or if global warming truly destroyed the world I once knew, but I did end up playing in the NBA after manual farming became obsolete from technological advances. Also, the robot that raped me ended up running on a battery that was abolished in this universe. Turns out it was similar to what caused global warming on another planet, so the robot was sent into another black hole for another universe to deal with. And as for the Chinese woman, turns out she wasn't Chinese at all. She was actually Japanese.